Okay, so this week's episode of The Walking Dead, episode 4, season 7. What is there to say about this? It it focuses entirely on Alexandria and Negan's first visit to Alexandria. By and large, centers around Negan taking all their stuff, taking their mattresses, taking their guns, which they have kept a perfect inventory of, without ever thinking to fudge the books prior to Negan's arrival. Inevitable arrival, I should add. All right, a few quick thoughts, because honestly, there's just not much to say. Rick acts like a total idiot the entire time. I mean, I get that he's scared of Negan, but just not keeping any guns, not burying any, saving them for later, fudging the books, taking away. They didn't even have to have an inventory. Negan wouldn't have known. And Negan, we are told that Negan's guns themselves, he didn't have an inventory of, so they could have hidden lots of those. The whole missing 2 pistols thing was pretty ridiculous. They easily could have been missing more guns than that, since they lost, I'm sure, a ton of guns to Negan when they got captured. Just the whole premise of this episode was weird. Rick's behavior is absolutely astoundingly stupid. I don't know how Michonne even puts up with him. That whole scene where Michonne comes back and he runs over and makes her give up the sniper rifle. Like, first of all, why did she show up in plain sight when they're in the middle of the whole Negan thing, and why did Rick draw attention to her? It's just Rick. Okay, at this point, I don't know who's more annoying, Rick or Negan. Like, that's the scales of annoying. Like, Rick, Negan. Rick is once again proving to be just the worst possible leader for his group. Negan, everything out of his mouth is annoying. He is the worst villain on this show, or right up there. He talks and talks and talks. He says stupid things like, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And it just drives me freaking batty, honestly. Like, the way he stands, the way he talks, he's just not a good villain at all. Totally one-dimensional villain who they just give all the floor space in the world. He has 90% of the lines. Maybe the only interesting part of this entire episode was Michonne and Rosita's characters. Rosita finds a gun and hides it, keeps it to herself. Good for you, Rosita. Michonne makes the stupid decision of coming back when Negan's there, but also, you get the feeling that she is on the same page as Rosita. She wants to fight back. She wants to plan a way. And when she finds those mattresses burned, she's really ticked off, and rightfully so. And, it's Rick's stupid fault. So right now, we keep on switching groups of characters every single episode. We had the sort of the larger group at the beginning. Then we had Carol and Morgan meeting Ezekiel and whatnot. Then we had Daryl and Dwight. Now we've come back to Alexandria and sort of that group of characters. Next week, I think we're going to Hilltop with Maggie and Sasha. Maggie, Sasha, Rosita, Michonne, all the women want to fight, and that's wonderful. Good for them. Negan says that he was going to ask Maggie to go back to the Savior's fortress with him, which, again, is just obnoxious. You don't know if he's just joking around or if he was going to take her by force or what. They lie and say she's dead. But anyways, switching from episode to episode, or from episode to episode, going to different groups of characters and sticking with them the whole time, I think is just such a bad writing decision. All these episodes could have been better if we'd had multiple stories, A, B, and even ABC stories going on throughout. This was a pretty flat episode, just didn't really do anything, just more tormenting of Rick and more of Rick buckling under the pressure of Negan. But if that had been interspersed with some of the stuff from the Dwight and Daryl episode, and then Daryl had shown up, and then, if that had all been woven together into a couple episodes rather than blocked out on their own, I think we would have had a much more interesting story so far. Right now, it feels like they're just barely making a full story for each of these episodes. And that's just not acceptable. It's not acceptable. I don't know. I think the season started out with a bang. I was sort of mixed on that but at least the first episode was really gripping. The second one was kind of funny, and I liked Ezekiel. But the last two have slowly started to make me nervous. I mean, the one with Daryl and Dwight was at least a little interesting because we got to see some character development for Dwight. And we get to see just how stubborn Daryl is. But man, this episode was just not good in any way. I do not see what the point of having an entire episode of Negan just taking stuff. We get it. We get that Negan's bad. We get that these guys are bad. They take stuff. They're takers. You know, they're not givers. They're takers. They're bad. We get it. Hey, move on. Let's have something happen now. That's it. That's all I have to say. Thanks for watching.